This morning, I'm going to talk about back to more with less. I think it's been a couple weeks since I've talked to you guys about more with less. And today, I'm going to be talking about something that I think every wise person who has ever lived has been really good at this. And it's been learning from others and less trying on their own. If there's one thing I think that makes outstanding leaders, outstanding people of influence, people who change their world, it's people who are constantly learning from others. Learning from others is like standing on other people's shoulders. The people you're learning from, you get to be elevated. You can reach higher than you ever can on your own because you take what they have learned from life experience and make it part of yourself, and you're just growing that much more. You can go that much farther, reach that much higher. So the most important thing that you need to start with is you got to be hungry. You have to want to learn. If you don't want to learn, then you will not learn. I mean, that's pretty basic. But once you understand how much learning from others can affect your life, you really will try to learn everything you can from other people around you. When you understand the power of learning from other people, if you stay in your own little box, you will stay in your own little box. But if you actually get outside of that and learn from others and take other people's thoughts and life experiences and think them through, it will change you. You will grow. So it's very important you understand how much learning from others can change your life. So people who are wanting to learn from others are not picky. They will learn from everyone. They'll learn from people who are really good leaders. They'll learn from people who are not so good, people who are making mistakes. You can learn from every single person that you come across. Sometimes you learn, like I just said, what not to do, because it's like that person did that and look what happened. I definitely don't want to do that. I want to do the opposite thing. Or, wow, I really like what this person did. I want to go after that. That kind of life. So you can learn from everyone. It doesn't matter on their position, on their age, on their race, on their gender. You can learn from every single person. Then the other thing is, to be hungry, you have to be ready to learn from every situation. Sometimes we want the perfect classroom setting, coffee in hand, just had a donut. I mean, your guys are in the perfect setting right now for learning. But when you get out there on the job and the customer is upset, or the person you're working with is having a tough day, or the police officer pulled you over because you did something, whatever it might be, the situations where they get difficult, they're harder to learn from because you don't want to learn. You just want to get through it and get that behind you and get on to life. But those are the times when you can almost always learn the most. In those hard times, in those difficult times, those are great situations for learning. So be ready to learn in every situation. So to be hungry, you need to be really understanding the impact others can have on your life. Don't be picky, learn from everybody, and learn from every situation. Always be ready to learn. All right, then that moves to the next thing. You need to be diligent. So just having that kind of attitude is where you start. But when you learn things, if you don't really take time to reflect on what you're learning and make it part of who you are, you can learn something and then it just kind of, oh yeah, that's a good idea, but then you never really take it in and make it yours. You know what I'm saying? Like you recognize it's a good idea, but you just kind of recognize it and then pass on. You like that painting, oh, it's a really nice painting at the art store, but you don't buy it. You don't bring it home and put it in your house. You can recognize that it's a good idea, but till you actually take time to reflect on it and like make it your own and really understand it, you're not bringing that painting home and putting it in your house. It's that kind of idea. So take time to reflect on it, and after you reflect on it and you understand it, then you must be very intentional with implementing what we're learning. So when you learn something, it's not just enough to learn it, but actually you need to apply it. For me, I feel like I'm actually a really slow learner, and so I spend a lot of time thinking about the things I'm learning and trying to implement them, trying to put them into where the rubber meets the road. Because it's not like I can just have this great idea or see this great lesson that I should learn or think it's a really cool thing. For me, I actually have to work really hard to take it from that to putting it into my real life. So be very intentional. And then the other thing I do that I think is very important, and I've seen it in a lot of good leaders, is they recognize what it is that they're not very good at. I call them here wisdom gaps. What is it? You might be really good with numbers and telling people truth, but you might have a hard time telling it in the way that they can really accept it. You might have a hard time connecting with people. You know what I'm saying? You might be able to see what's wrong, but to say it to the person in a way that they can receive it and be like, you know what, I want to change that, maybe you're weak at that. It's not your strong point. There's a lot of different things. Maybe speed is your strong point, but quality is not. Or maybe quality is your strong point, but speed is not. Maybe not being efficient, but really taking good care of people is your quality. Like, it doesn't, there's like a weakness, and then there's the strength. The flip side of your strength is always a weakness. And so find those wisdom gaps, those things that you need to learn more about, and then find a way to fill those by learning from others. And then this kind of takes you into the last part, be wise. Wisdom matures when knowledge is applied to real life experience and learned from repeatedly. So if you want to be a wise person, it takes knowledge that you apply to life and you learn from, and that becomes wisdom. Does that make sense? Just knowing something doesn't make you a wise person. Just knowing it's stupid to go really fast on back roads where kids can run out doesn't make you a wise person, because you might still drive really fast on those back roads. Does that make sense? So knowing something does not make you wise. Applying it and learning from it makes you wise. So if you want to be wise, take the knowledge you're learning from other people and then apply it to life, and do that again and again, and you will become wise. Here's the other thing. This is something I am learning so much. Becoming wise is a slow and arduous process. If we wait to begin till we need it, we missed it completely. So it takes time. Think of a tree, a really strong tree. The Bible talks about a tree planted by the water that brings forth fruit in its season. I never really understood that till I started connecting it with this. It takes time to grow and mature, and as you do grow and mature, there comes a time when you're ready for whatever it is that all that maturing and all that wisdom is built up for. So if you're investing in yourself and you're learning how to take good care of people, you're learning how to handle tough situations, you're learning how to do quality work while being efficient, all those things, it's like a growing process. It takes a lot of time. And then when you're put into the situation where everything is maxed out, you have it. You have what it takes because you invested in yourself. So I cannot say this enough. If you want to go places, if you want to do big things, invest in yourself. Constantly be learning from others, because that will make you grow. And then you'll be ready for the big challenges. So what happens is, I was talking to James Beachy last week. We had him over for dinner, and I was talking to him about his life right now. He's got a lot on his plate. He's got numerous things that he's leading out in. He's leading out on the ministry team. He's leading out in the city. He's in worship. He's running his own business. He's got like a family. He's got so many demands on his life. And I said, James, the thing that has happened, I've seen you just all of a sudden step into all these different roles. And the reason you were able to is because you've been investing in yourself. All of a sudden, when all these things are put on him, he has what it takes because he's been growing and investing in himself. So the opportunity comes and he's ready. That's the difference. That's why I say if you wait till you need it, you missed it. If you have not been investing in yourself, if James had not been investing in himself, he would have been called upon to do this and do that and do this. And all of a sudden, he couldn't take it. He would just completely fall apart. He would make unwise decisions. He would not have what it takes. He would not be strong enough to do it. He would not have the wisdom. But with all the time investing in himself, and one of the things he told me is he's been running a lawnmower in his mowing business for a long time, and he listens to books all the time. He's talking to God throughout the day. He's had a lot of time to just enrich himself by other people. So that's made him grow. And that's the reason people want him to do things, because he's been growing. So I know I've talked about that point for a long time, but it is very important. I have found myself maxed out to the limit with what God has called me to do here. And it's only because I've invested in myself as much as I have in the past that God has been able to do some of the things he's done here. But I feel like I haven't invested in myself even enough. Like, I'm a slow learner, like I said, and so I wish I could learn faster. So take it from me, who feels like I'm up against all the things I've learned. I feel like I'm stretched well beyond my capacity. I wish I had learned more. I wish I had invested in myself more by learning from others. So get started learning and growing, because the opportunity is going to come, and whoever has put that time in and really invested in themselves is going to be the one that's going to be ready to take it. And if you haven't, you'll miss it. You understand that? Very, very important. Then the last point, this is what keeps you humble. The more wisdom we have, the more we understand how much we need to learn from others. As you go through life and you start learning from others and you get more wisdom, you start understanding how important it is to really have everybody else's perspective. It's actually the immature people who think they don't need other people. But the more wise you are, the more you understand, I need to hear from everybody. I need other people's perspective in my life. So as you grow, you're never done learning. Actually, the more you learn, the more you need to learn. The more you understand, you must learn. So it's not like you become wise and then you don't need to hear from anybody else. It's a constant, lifelong thing. So remember, be hungry. You got to want it. If you don't want it, you're not going to get it. And then be diligent. Work hard on the stuff. Look for ways. Go into those uncomfortable situations. Learn from everything. Think it through. Apply it. Be diligent. Like, work hard. And then be wise. Put it into practice. Just knowing something is not enough. Like I said, you'll still speed on that back road even if you know you shouldn't. You're still being unwise. But if you apply it, you're going to be wise. So, I came up with this myself because I believe it's true. To the extent you're learning, you are growing. To the extent you are growing, you are becoming wise. To the extent of your wisdom, you are influencing yourself and others. To the extent you are influencing yourself and others, you are impacting your world. Start learning, start changing your world. I believe that with all my heart. It's the reason I invest in myself. It's the reason I'm constantly pushing myself. It's the reason I'm constantly reading books, meeting with people that frankly intimidate me, because they've done great things, and here I am, this little guy, but I'm trying to learn from them because I want to impact my world. And I know you guys want to do the same, so start learning. That's where it starts. If you can learn, you'll grow. If you can grow, you'll become wise. If you're wise, you'll know you have to lead and influence yourself first before you can lead and influence other people. That one's free. You can take that. But it's true. If you cannot lead yourself into something, don't ever expect to lead anybody else into anything. If you cannot apply it to yourself, you can't teach other people. Once you're influencing yourself and others, you're going to change the world, your world. So start learning, start changing your world. Any thoughts? Pretty passionate about it. I can tell you guys are too. It's good.
Good job on the saying there.
Thank you. I don't know if it makes sense in my brain. So that's why I have to give my little disclaimers every now and then there. How do you guys like to learn? For example, what I'm getting at is there's some people who read books and they just fly through books. For me, like I said, I'm a slow learner, and I've said this before, but I've read The One Thing last year like 5 times because I'm a slow learner, I feel like, and I really want to apply it. I really want to get what it's saying because it's so amazing. So for me, I read books slowly, and I think about them, and I try to apply them. Now, novels I can read very fast. But if I'm trying to learn something from it, then I got to read slow. So like, how do you like to learn? Would you rather learn through people, through YouTube videos, TED Talks? Like, what's your way of learning? Just throw it out there.
Sometimes, I'll be going through something in life, or have an experience, and then maybe I'll like go and try to find something that I can apply that particular thing to out of God's Word from other books, and then I find it, it's like, wow, that applies to me, and then it kind of ratifies it in my life, like this is a way to go forward.
Yep.
And to make decisions.
That's good. Think it through even farther. Yeah, take it down to like the foundation.
I like podcasts. I listen to a lot of podcasts. I also listen to a lot of books as well. And then mentors are big for me as well.
So you got it from coming from a lot of different sources. The neat thing about podcasts and books, you can learn from people you'll never get to sit down with, but they're sitting down with you and telling you what they've learned. So books are huge. It's neat. We all have our different ways of learning, and we all have our preferred method of how to learn from others. But the important thing is that you're learning from others, and that's what I wanted. Thank you guys for talking. That's what I wanted to point out is that there's no one right way. The more you can incorporate, the more different people you can get things from, because like I said, you can learn things from books that you can't necessarily from people, because you'll never get to sit down with those people. But there's something about choosing somebody in your life, like Gordy and Renee. They're wise people. And we got to sit down, and we spent like a week and a half with them the last time they were here, just learning from them. And there's something about that I don't get out of a book. You know what I'm saying? But there's something that I get out of a book that I don't get from them. So the more you can have these different things that you're learning from others, the different ways of learning from others, the more input you can get. So that's really good. Well, start learning. You know we are. Keep it up, but start again. Sometimes I have to remind myself why I'm doing what I'm doing, why I want to sit down and read that book or take the time to do it. So I'm reminding all of us, that's why we're doing it. If we're going to learn, we're going to grow. And then you see the chain reaction there. We're going to impact our world. So good thoughts. Thank you guys for being learners. I like you guys.